Anomaly recently had an Instagram Live with several Aussies speaking out about the tyrannical lockdowns in Australia. People aren't allowed to travel more than 5 kilometers from their home. People who live alone were once allowed further to briefly visit a friend, but no longer. Now they can only register a single person within 5 kilometers of their home. Within that 5 kilometers, they are only allowed outside of their home for 2 hours a day. And when they are out, they need permission. They are required to scan QR codes with their phones to show where they've been. There are only 3 permissible reasons to leave your home: to exercise or to go shopping, if there is a shop within your 5K bubble, or go to work. That is, if you still have a job. Most shops have been shut down in Australia for over 200 days, and in many areas, people cannot go to work unless they get the shot. If you are caught outside without an excuse, you are arrested. If you are not wearing a mask while alone in your car, you are pulled over by the police. The Premier of Australia recently said that this is literally a war.
But it's really, really important for us to acknowledge and accept that we need vaccination as a key tool in fighting this. This is literally a war, and we've known we've been in a war for some time, but never to this extent.
And seeing that only 0.032% have been infected, we know that the Premier isn't declaring war against COVID. That would be insane. She is declaring war against the people. And she isn't joking. Girls as young as 12 years old are getting pepper sprayed and arrested by the police for not wearing masks. In 2020, Australian citizens were being arrested for questioning the government online. Now, they are being arrested for questioning the government in their own homes. After being reported to the police by his wife for questioning the government, an Australian man was taken against his will in an ambulance to a prison-like facility, where he was questioned, told he has had a nervous breakdown, and diagnosed as having a problem trusting authority. They are building concentration camps. Melbourne's Centre for National Resilience is set to open by the end of the year. They call them quarantine camps, but this makes no sense, considering only 0.032% of the population is infected. By definition, these are concentration camps. And they're coming to America next. Australia lost their guns because they never had the Bill of Rights to protect them. America does. But for how long?
What do you think people need to know? Anything that you think hasn't been said or that people really need to know?
In America?
In America, yeah.
We need you guys. It doesn't matter if Joe Biden's in the White House at this point in time. You guys are the leaders of the free world, and everyone is looking to you. You know, Australia, it's do or die. We've got China on our doorstep. And the thing is, if you guys don't find out who you are, if you don't remember what made America great, we're all screwed.
For Infowars.com, this is Greg Reese.
This is on Rumble or Infowars.com, but this is Rumble, Infowars, or banned video. Yeah, Infowars/banned video, BANNED.video. And as you can read the name of the title. Remember, in this country, the Second Amendment protects the First, the Third, and the Fourth. Without the Second Amendment, we have no freedom of speech, we have no right to religion, and we have no sanctity in our own homes. This fumbling idiot that's running the show right now, things are bad. I mean, if there isn't a teleprompter running, he can't speak. I mean, he comes out. Well, first he walks up to a camera and goes, "My butt's been wiped." All right. But then later on he says, "Well, I was given a list of people to call on. The first person is whomever. Because he can't answer a question because he doesn't know the answer, because he's senile. His brain ain't there anymore. I mean, he's always been a racist cocksucker. I mean, back in the 70s and the 80s, you listen to the comments that he made, even in the 90s, and during his candidacy, or his when he was running for president, you know, that having the interview with the union workers there, and the guy's like, you know, talking about his guns, and all of a sudden Biden's like, you want to fight? You want to do push-ups? You know, Biden, he's just an old, feeble old man. And what's sad is, I remember just as my grandpa got to, like, 2 or 3 days before he died, he was real fumbly too. So, I mean, I don't wish ill will on anyone, but this idiot that's running the show right now, he's just not doing it. So, I'm going to pause this. Hang on. So anyway, like I was saying, years and years and years ago, when Australia had their stupid gun buy, their gun buyback, which was basically a mandatory turn in your guns or we're going to come and arrest you. Australia lost all of their firearms. And since then, they have pretty much become an authoritative country, I guess. You know, people don't have any freedoms. They don't have any rights. You got to watch. I mean, it's like Mighty Car Mods. They're a group of guys, a couple of guys that do modifications on Australian style cars, or on Australian cars, because they live in Australia. And they show all this stuff that they do on these cars, but what they don't actually tell you is that none of these cars, after they touch them, are actually legal to be on the road. They build them, they do stuff with them just for the videos and stuff, and then they have to be either put back to stock or they have to be crushed, because it's illegal in Australia to do any modifications to your car without written consent from the government. Check out Craig Lieberman on YouTube. He's the guy that was the technical director for Fast and the Furious movies, the first two, the ones that were actually good. He's got a channel on YouTube right now where he's talking about modifications, what you can and can't do to cars and stuff. And that shit's coming here, too. The Diesel brothers, man, they got slammed for doing aftermarket stuff, you know, offering programs and tuning and stuff like that. This shit's all coming. Pretty much everything that happens in Australia, 6, 7 years later, 10, 15, 20 years later, is shit's coming over here. And right now, I mean, you can see by this video that I just showed you, this big nose honking piece of shit that's over there dictating, telling people what they can and can't do. I mean, imagine that. If this shit happened to you, you have a 5-kilometer bubble that you can go into. Okay, that's about 3 miles. So if you live in a small town, your grocery store is empty the first day. Boom, you're out of food. If you live in a big metropolitan area, well, maybe you can walk to the grocery store, but most likely food's going to be gone. Markets and stuff, you know, sidewalk markets, sidewalk markets, open markets, whatever they are. I don't know, I don't live in big cities because I'm smart enough to stay the fuck away from people. But imagine that. You can only go 3 miles from your home, and if you don't tell the government where you are, they're going to come grab you. If you don't have a reason to be out, whether you're exercising or getting groceries, you don't have a right to be out of your house. That shit's coming here. And if anybody that's watching this, and I know I don't have any subscribers on this channel, but anybody that's watching this, if you are a Joe Biden supporter, you are the fucking problem. If you think what this asshole window licker is doing is the right thing, you are full of shit. If you think that the Biden administration won this election, you are full of shit. There is no fucking way that Joe Biden got 80 million votes. That guy can't get 800 people to watch any of his videos. Well, let me rephrase that. He can't get 800 thumbs up on any video he's put up on whitehouse.gov. He can't. But he can get 500,000 dislikes. You look at Trump. 6 months out of office. Shows up in Alabama. There's 10, 15,000 people to watch that. To watch him talk. Joe Biden shows up. He comes up and goes, my butt's been wiped. Stumbles around for 5 minutes. Can't figure out what he's doing. He's looking like he's stoned or retarded. He's waiting for somebody to lead him around to tell him what to do. He can't draw an audience because nobody voted for his ass. Well, I mean, by comparison to Trump. But if people voted for him, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that voted for him, I'm sure he got probably 10 or 12 million votes in all reality. I mean, there's a lot of stupid people in the world. Hell, read an Amazon review. I once saw a review that a guy took camp spray, silicone camp dry, like you spray on the outside of your tent to keep the water from leaking into your tent. This man sprayed the camp dry on his Crocs. Crocs. These things, these plastic holy shoes, this guy sprayed camp dry all over his Crocs, walked into the ocean, and his feet got wet, and he gave a 1-star review because the camp dry allowed his feet to get wet. I shit you not, that is on Amazon. I have read that review, and I've flamed the piss out of it, but there are a million stupid people in this world, and I think all of them voted for Joe Biden. And now we're fucked. I mean, think about it. Since this whole shit took over in January, my gas prices went from $1.58 a gallon to $3.99 a gallon. The price of a fucking pork chop went from 89 cents a pound to $6.99 a pound. A steak, a T-bone in January was like $6.29 a pound, $6.99 a pound, depending on where it went. Now, $22 a pound. Chicken legs, drumsticks, okay? I'm not talking about wings, that everybody likes wings, and everybody talks about how we're having a wing shortage. Chicken legs. That shit piece of meat that nobody fucking wants to eat because it's nothing but cartilage and connective tissue. I mean, that's the shit you give like to the kids because you don't want to eat it. That is now to buy a package of chicken legs that's, let's say, 14 of them in a package is now over $20. Where this time last year, that package of chicken legs was $1.99. Somehow, chicken breast is still only $3 a pound, but chicken legs now are $12 a pound. I don't get it. But this is all just a little bit of stuff that's happened just in the 6 months since this numb fuck took over. Now we're having problems in Afghanistan. How long has it been since you've heard about the Taliban or ISIS, Afghanistan, any of that bullshit? Since 2016. I mean, just before the election, all they talked about were all the massive shootings where Muslims were coming in and shooting the fuck out of people and this and that and all the stuff they were doing. Trump comes in, stifles that shit, and he's like, we're done. You come fuck with us, we will punish you. And they just said, okay, we'll step back. And you don't hear anything about it. Numbnuts Biden's back, is in office, fumbles around a little bit, falls up some stairs. I think it'd have been awesome if he'd have fallen down the fucking stairs. That would have been great. Maybe a bone snap or something, you know. I mean, that'd be awesome just to watch a big white bone rip out of his pant leg. But he fumbles around a little bit. Here we are. 6 months into his, quote, presidency, unquote. Now we're back being fucked around with by the Middle East again. Man, just... do people just not see what is going on? I don't know. I mean, I watch Mark Dice. He goes out on the streets of California with a microphone and just asks people really simple questions. I mean, his old ones were, would you rather have $100 gold coin or a candy bar? And most people took the candy bar because they're too stupid to understand what a gold coin was. Because they're like, well, it must be fake. Money isn't in gold. Whatever. But now all of his new ones are like, hey, what do you think about putting Americans in jail for speaking against the president, or not taking the vaccine, or refusing to wear a mask? What do you feel about that? And these stupid liberals are like, oh, put them in prison, kill them, rip their nuts off so they can't reproduce. I mean, imagine having that attitude. If I disagree with you, I want you to die. That's their attitude. I don't give a fuck about anything, but this is my belief, and if you agree with me, then okay, fine, great, we're friends. But if you disagree with me, then you need to die. That makes no sense. We have freedom in this country. For right now, there's still some left. You have the freedom of choice. You have the freedom of religion. You have the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe. I mean, if you want to cut your wiener off and invert it and turn yourself into a girl, all right, fine. Do I think you should be in women's bathrooms? No. But we have the freedom to do these things. But even though I disagree with what you're saying, you still have the right and the freedoms to do that. But now, if I were to go up and ask this person, let's say this person is standing there and they're obviously a person of that lifestyle, and I look them in the face and I say, I disagree with you. I think what you're doing is wrong. I'm going to be surrounded by 500 people, and most likely the people that are going to be behind me are going to be hitting me with stuff or throwing things at me because they're cowards. Because they disagree with my opinion. Even though they have the right to do what they want to do, they feel that I don't have the right to do what I want to do. Now, I'll tell you, if you're a 450-pound man that dresses in drag with a half a beard and a man bun, and you've got your makeup on and your high heels and shit, and you go walk through, let's say, Wyoming, or Southern Texas or New Mexico, and you walk up to some cowboys and try to put your beliefs on them, they're going to fuck you up because they don't want to hear it. And I don't know, I guess maybe that's the way the inner cities are. They don't want to hear my opinion. But the thing is that this country was founded by people that could think and make decisions and do what was right to improve the way of life for yourself, your children, and the next generation. And now people are not thinking like that. It's completely opposite. It's all gimme, gimme, gimme. It's all about me. Fuck white people. Fuck straight people. We all hate you. Well, look, if you hate white people so bad, you gotta think about something. If you are a black minority that came here and you are from a slavery descent, the only reason you're in this country is because you were brought to this country, or your relatives were, and enslaved. I'm not saying that's good. That's not what I'm saying. But they were enslaved. But if your relatives had not been brought here, you would be living in Africa, starving to death. Not sitting on the front porch in Detroit at 450 pounds, can't even scratch your own vagina because you got a 9-pound tit in the way, bitching about how you hate white people. That's a way of life. Or not a way of life, but I mean, that's the facts. Don't hate me because I'm white. It's not my fault I'm white, just like it's not your fault that you're black. You know, it's not your fault that you're straight or your fault that you're not straight. Who cares? This is where libertarianism comes in. I don't give a fuck what you do as long as it doesn't interfere with my life. If I want to sit on my back porch in my underwear and watch the sunrise, so be it. That should be my God-given right. And if I want to watch that sun go down, you know, watch that sun set, watch that sun go down, that's my God-given right. It's yours too. But what I don't need is to have somebody disagree with me and then come over and give me a bunch of shit because they don't like what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. I have the right, as long as I'm not infringing on someone else's rights, I have the right to do what I'm doing. And so do you. Stop trying to divide us. I mean, that's all that's been going on for the 8 years Obama was in office. All he did was try to divide us. White people versus black people, blah, blah, blah. Look at how the white people get all this shit and the black people get nothing. Well, you're black president, Obama. Do something about it. He didn't do shit. Another talking head. Trump came in office and he was actually trying to help. I don't know if he helped or if he hurt. I don't know. I'm not part of that life. I don't know. But I know the man tried. But I can tell you this asshole that's in office now, I mean, if you voted for him, you got duped. He told you he was going to forgive student loan debt. Ah! He's a greasy fucking Democrat politician. You think he's going to let go of money? Shit. He ain't going to forgive anything. All those Bernie bros that came over with the man buns and you know, and the fucking beards and women with, you know, with armpit hair that smell like trucker nuts. I don't know. Look what you did. How do you feel about yourself? I don't know. I mean, I'm to the point where I just don't know. Prepare. As that title says, locked down under, Aussies warn America. You're next. And they're coming for you.